To the Most High God, I hope everyone is doing great out there. Today's date is June 25th, 2026. And I haven't been on here a while because I was just kind of doing me for a while, like taking, care of myself, self-care, kind of relaxing, reflecting, those type of things, which I think everyone should do. Particularly, I think everyone should do it, but a lot of times as women, we do so much for everybody else, and we don't really get the opportunity to kind of just reflect and take care of ourselves. And even the best of us sometimes can be so busy with caring for everybody else, caring for your husbands, caring for your children, caring for your coworkers, caring for your church members, caring for your neighbors, and doing all of these things we do as women. And so we fail to really care for ourselves. And the Lord has been kind of working with me and telling me to care for myself more, Not that I have been completely neglecting myself, because I never will do that, but I haven't been giving the same attention to myself that I have been other people. And we really need to take time to do that, because we can't care for ourselves. We can't care for others unless we care for ourselves. So nonetheless, I want to talk about, again, I'm going to revisit the topic of jealousy, and I'm going to revisit the topic of you using discernment as a woman about some of these other women that are out here. And I consistently keep saying that these women out here are getting very vicious, okay? They're getting very vicious. And maybe they've always been vicious. And just because we have cameras and media and all these access to communications, we're just realizing it. But you guys got to be careful out here, because we are in these last days. And if you go to, I'm going to give you scripture about what is going on. If you go to Isaiah 4 chapter 1, it says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by the name to take away our reproach. So, this is the day where you are seeing women who are even willing to share a man. They're even willing to kill for a man. They're even willing to take care of a man, completely take care of him financially, if only they can have a man to call their own, okay? And some of these women will go to extreme measures to weed out the competition. And I consistently keep warning the daughters of the Most High that you have to be very careful, because God is going to bless you with husbands. God is going to bless you with men to take care of you. God is going to bless you with knowledge to care for yourself. God is going to keep you youthful and beautiful and kind and nurturing and supportive. And all of these things that are going to make you attractive. And so those who worship the beast system, they're not going to have access to this knowledge and this youth and this glow that you have as daughters of the Most High. And so they are going to be envious of what you have as a woman. And in some extreme cases, they may even try to target you. It could get ugly, it could get dangerous. I'm just letting you know. So I'm going to let you see parts of this little story.
The trial of a woman accused of plotting to kill her romantic rival in Tamarack is happening right now. 31-year-old Sakina Thompson is charged with the 2022 murder of Kayla Hodgson. Let me take you back. Broward Sheriff's investigators say that Thompson flew down from New York days before the murder with the intent of killing Hodgson. Detectives say the two women were dating the same men. Well, Hodgson was found stabbed to death in her village apartment home in Tamarack. Prosecuting and defense attorneys just wrapped up their opening statements.
So I'm not going to play the entire thing. You can go to either one of these outlets to hear the entire story. But basically, this woman made a decision that she was going to unalive her boyfriend's other woman. And there are multiple stories where these women are unaliving other women out of envy and jealousy, stalking other women, harassing other women because they're trying to weed out the competition. And I already told you guys this. You must be careful because it's getting vicious. And in many cases, the Bible warns us about this. Because of the haughtiness of women, because of the rebelliousness of women, that many women are becoming very desperate for male attention. Because there are now more women in every area of the planet. In most places, most countries, there are more women than men, except for a few countries. And men are deciding, not to marry as much, or they are making a decision that they're going to go out of the country to look for women. And I warned before, which the Lord has confirmed, that particularly in some of these westernized countries like America, the men are going to start leaving the country to look for wives because they want more traditional wives. And they feel that they cannot find traditional submissive wives in America. Now we know that is not true, but some of them feel this way. And when you see some of the things that are going on, you can't really blame them. I see how women treat other women. If you treat it, you can't, your personality is not a light switch, okay? If you treat strange people bad, people who you don't know what their capabilities are, first of all, you're not a wise person. And secondly, imagine how you treat people who you know and you're comfortable with, who you do know what their capabilities are. If you have a person and she treats a coworker disrespectful, she doesn't know what that coworker is capable of. This is why you have these cases where you have these people who are coming back to these jobs and performing violence at these places of work. Because some of these co-workers, and I don't condone violence in any form or fashion. Let me say that. People got to learn better coping skills. If a job gets you to that point, you just need to leave and save yourself. I've had to leave jobs that were hostile environments. With everything that I brought with me, the Lord just told me to leave. But if you get to a point where you're working in a hostile environment, you got to save yourself, because you can't change. If you're not in a leadership position, you cannot change a hostile environment. An environment is hostile because those leaders allow it. They allow it. They're probably narcissistic leaders and supervisors, whatever their job role is. And so they are manifesting that hostile environment by allowing it and catering to it. So the idea that you can change an environment that is already hostile if you're not in a leadership position is just a myth. You have to leave and save yourself. So if a person is mean to a stranger, purposely mean and rude to a stranger, that's not a smart person. And it's also a person who is probably even worse to the people that they know. So, one of the signs of a dangerous person is a person who tries to force themselves into your space, regardless of how they try to do it. There is nothing normal about a person trying to force themselves into your personal space knowingly. Now, there may be people who may have some type of mental health conditions and they just don't understand personal space. But even then, you just need to distance yourself and be careful. But when you see a person consistently trying to place themselves in your personal space, that's a dangerous person. And that's not a person to be taken lightly. And when I say how in what ways would they try to place themselves into your personal space? Texting you all the time. And I'm not talking about a concerned parent, okay? I'm not talking about a concerned parent. But even in that case, when you say that you no longer want to deal with that person or whatever, then they have to respect what you state. But what I am really talking about is a person who you have made it clear you're not interested in dealing with them. And they are trying to come to your social media page, and they're posting things on your social media page, or they are stalking you. Stalking is a dangerous behavior. Stalking is the sign of a sociopath or a psychopath. Do not take stalking lightly, because that is the first sign of imminent danger. When a person is stalking you, that is the first sign of imminent danger. People who stalk are dangerous. Whether they're stalking you on your personal, your social media page, or physically. So daughters of the Most High, please, 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 please be careful out there with other women. Definitely with men, because a lot of women know how to be careful with men. But you have to be careful with a lot of women too. Women can be very dangerous. I'm talking about in my book how to recognize narcissistic personalities, psychopathic and sociopathic personalities. Because those of us who are children of the Most High God, daughters of the Most High God, you're going to attract these type of people because of your light and your glow. Because they want to feed off of your energy, feed off of your light. They see it as something to destroy or to challenge. You have to recognize what these people look like And I'm telling you, one of the tail signs of these people is stalking. They don't respect boundaries. They do not respect boundaries. And people who don't respect boundaries are dangerous people, male or female. And one of the number one signs of a dangerous person is if they stalk you on social media or physically. And don't ever mistake that for flattery, concern. They're dangerous. And a lot of people miss that sign. A lot of women miss that sign in abusive relationships. Because that is always, stalking is always the backup plan for dangerous people. Because the reason they're stalking you is because they want to know your whereabouts so that they can plan an attack. That is the first step in them planning an attack against you. And unfortunately, some women ignore these signs because it's coming from a family member or a close friend. People who stalk are dangerous. So, and people who don't respect boundaries. Regardless of the reason. All right, guys, stay prayed up.